Just Incredible, bringing you a Mega Man X2 speedrun tutorial on Gator. So after getting through Sponge and getting his weapon, you're going to come to one of the most technical stages in the game for as early in the run as this is, and also for with only having just this one weapon to use. It's a really technical stage and pretty fun to play once you get it down. There's a lot of chain placements that you have to do to get to the items in this stage, and there's quite a couple of RNG elements also. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward stage once you get the hang of all the stuff that you have to do. So right out of the gate, you only have this one weapon, so you only need one weapon swap to go from your weapon to Buster. Now, at the flashing ready, I held the weapon swap button, and when X teleported in, he automatically switched to Strike Chain. You'll see that a lot in these 8 Maverick runs, and a couple of times in the Counter Hunter stages. It's just to get to your weapons faster. It'll save you some stress on inputs as you're trying to move along and trying to navigate through all your weapons. And also, the order of your weapons, depending on what route you're doing, either stack third or ostrich third, it will change your weapon order also. So, for right now, it's always like chain, and then once you beat Gator, the next stage after that will always be chain, wheel, but from then on, it could vary depending on your route. So, from the start here, you're going to dash forward, and at the apex of this hill, where the flat part meets, you want to dash jump, and you'll have the chain out at the point, but I'm not having it on there just to save energy. And as X descends, you want to chain the red part of this wall. Now X can't actually grab this, so that's a benefit, because what's going to happen is when he shoots the chain at the proper point, the chain will actually grab the wall and pull X further. And this is actually faster than his dash jump speed. So each little wall chain that we do throughout the run is going to save some frames. And some of the more, when we get the arm upgrade here, we're going to have the bigger chain when we charge up the weapon. And that extends a lot further, and it actually pulls a lot faster. So one chain may not seem like a big deal, but over the course of this game, it adds up to a lot of time. And it's used everywhere, but this is really the first and only stage that you use chain exclusively. So, from the very beginning, we're going to have chain, we're going to dash jump, and then as X falls, he's going to get pulled further. Now, this actually gives X a little bit more distance from these birds that this machine will spit out. So one is going to be chasing him as we move, and when we kill these tanks. Now these tanks can be killed with either a chain or 2 dash shots. Now what I mean by 2 dash shots is that if you mash a bunch of shots at once, the first shot will have the double damage property that we use to kill Sponge with. So only one of those is active at a time. So if you try to mash 2 shots in a row, he won't die. But if you do the dash shots like wait till the first one's gone, he dies. So it's important to keep note of that when you use Buster a lot. So mashing these shots is not always the best method. But you have to be dashing in, you have to be in the dash animation for these dash shots to actually happen. And this is probably the only time you'll see the stage turn night. It's a pretty cool stage, and it's a shame that you don't get to see the graphical effects. So, we do the chain. You can chain this bottom step, and then go and do a short hop into a chain there. And then you can swap off to Buster if you want. But how this is going to look. So here comes the bird. And I stop for a minute to let him pass, because sometimes if you don't get optimal movement, you'll have to stop just to let the bird pass so it doesn't hit you. So that chain gives us enough space to actually get. Well, I didn't get by him that time. But you'll see this is the first application that the chain is used for. See, I was able to get enough space to allow me to decide to jump over him or let him pass. So here is Will Gator at full nighttime now, which is pretty neat. They should have done it the opposite way. Now, if you get hung up on a step, you'll lose your dash speed. So, here we go again. I was able to get by him that time. So that's how that first part should look. So we're coming up on the arm capsule. So we're just going to dash shot these guys. And we're going to come do our first visual aid here. So once we take out this last tank and start dismounting the ladder, we should be charging up for a green shot again. And you're going to dash forward, and just before you dash off this ledge, you want to fire the green charge shot and a couple of lemons behind it, because that will be enough to take out this tank, which will allow X, when he dashes down to this lower level, he can do a full dash jump extended, and he'll land on this step, which is ideal for getting these chain jumps to get to the arm capsule. And also, as you jump, you want to swap to strike chain in midair, and these shots should be off screen from hitting this enemy to allow you to do so. Otherwise, you'll have to swap the chain before you jump or during the jump, which is kind of tough to get because you could miss your timing. But you want to dash jump with the chain, and at the almost near the apex of X's jump, you want to fire the chain, which will pull him horizontally to the wall. And then you want to do the same coming back the opposite way to grab the bottom of this wall with the chain. And then as soon as X grabs it, you want to start jumping and climbing, because if you'll start falling as soon as you touch the wall. And it doesn't take long for X to fall off before you have to reattempt it. So coming to the wall, and this blue partition on the ceiling is a good indicator. But for the first jump, you can fire the chain on the left side of it, and this X in the background kind of helps with that visual cue. And then coming back, you can fire the chain on the right side of this blue ceiling part, or you can use this thick line here as another visual cue. But either way, as soon as you grab, you want to zigzag up, and then as you do a dash jump here and hold right toward the capsule, fire a chain. And it's random if you get this or not, but you can actually get a capsule toe. This tank of the stage it constantly shakes, and it shakes randomly. So if you're lucky, the screen will not shake, and the chain will actually grab the wall and pull X into the capsule, and that will save you a few frames. But it's not that important to reset over. It's just a fast way of getting into the capsule. And if X has to stop, the stage could just stop him in front of the capsule, and then you may have to wait anywhere from like a half second to maybe a full second for the capsule to open. But it's just a thing to try for every time you get to the arm capsule, just to see if you can get the best RNG possible. So I'm actually going to show a video first, and then I'll do this for real. So right there's the two chains, and then we climb, and there I get the capsule toe. So after that tank gets cleared out of the way, I'm swapping basically before I even reach the apex of the jump. One green shot and a dash shot should be enough to do the job to take out that tank. If you want to fire another shot, you can, but just be aware, if that little lemon still remains on screen after the tank's dead, you can't swap till that lemon's off screen. So I'm gonna try to freeze the. So right there, I'm shooting the chain basically just before I pass the blue part on this side, and then I'm actually shooting earlier. Now that I've got this game, or now I've got this video paused to where I can show it, but I'm shooting a little earlier than indicated, so make a note of that. You can still shoot at the aforementioned timing, so the timing's lenient, to say the least. But you just can't, once you grab the wall, you can't slack on your movement or you're going to fall off. So I'm going to climb back up here for a second to set this up. And the chain pulled me up to the capsule there, but the screen was shaking, so that's why X didn't go into the capsule. So as we jump in the capsule, and X will do this demonstration. So during X's demonstration, hold left and then hold jump, because you can actually get buffer movement coming out of this. You actually get control for just a moment. Now I didn't hold left all the way, but X is supposed to jump down out of that, and you can actually move X and he'll land right here. So then we go to the chain again, and what you're going to do here is you're going to ride this lift just for a second if you want to play it safe, and then dash jump, and then chain, and then hold your charge, and that sets up for this release chain, which I won't do it just yet, and I may die on purpose just so I can show that part again. And we get to see the daylight again. So there's that part, and then we do this. So now right there, the chain caught the chain actually grabbed the wall and pulled X, and that's fine. That's just safer, so you won't die. So I'm going to bring up the next video in my. So here is this part. So he dash jumps. It's basically like your first leap of faith in this game, and there's a lot of them. But you're going to shoot the chain in midair so that when X starts falling, the chain will continue to extend. And it just has to grab that wall just enough to pull X over those spikes. And then you're going to charge for the first use of the charge chain. So right there, when he lands on the bottom level, you're going to dash jump, or you're going to release and then dash jump at the right time, and when X is in the air, the chain's going to extend and grab this ledge and pull him, and it's going to zip him. And then after that, you're going to see those corner chains that I do. Remember, those pull them faster than dash speed, so if you can get them, they'll save you some frames, but they're not necessary by any means. It just optimizes your movement just a lot more. So right here, you're going to release the chain on the ground and then do a quick dash jump. And that will propel you forward. So as you fall from that, turn around, and you also want to set X up here on this side so that when he falls and you turn around and shoot the chain, he actually has momentum that he can move forward on. Because if you're right here on this side and you try to corner chain, you'll probably hit the wall and lose your momentum. So you want to space these corner chains out so that X actually has room to move should you grab the corner with the chain, just like that, and he doesn't stop. Now X will get to this ledge if you do this correctly, but if you hit this corner, you'll drop down and you'll have to take the low route through this small little section here. Now I just stay on chain just to take out that tank. It's easier. Some people opt for Buster just so it decreases the likelihood of a drop, but it doesn't matter. And right there, that corner chain, if you get that one, depending how far down these stairs it'll take you, depends on how good it was or how good momentum you got. You can actually get almost into the right armor or land right in front of it with the most optimal momentum and chain grab. It's pretty sick. So this strike chain is responsible for a lot of cool movement in the game. Like that good chain grab right there. Like I said, you don't have to do these, but if you can pull them off, it'll save you frames, which over time will save you seconds in the run. Now, after this section, we're going to come up to the mech section, which leads to getting the heart tank. So there's 2 RNGs to the heart tank, and it basically depends on the enemy mechs. So right here is the best one. I'm going to let it play a couple of times, and then I'll explain what the deal is. So that's how it was done. So as soon as you get in the mech, you're going to hold charge in the mech. And when the mech reaches full charge, those arms or those hands will rotate like drills, and will take out this core blocking your path. And also, when you release the charge, it actually lunges X forward on the ground. And this is a very important thing to talk about, because the mech lunging is the fastest speed that you have at this point. I'd say it's almost comparable to the Speedrunner, which you'll get later, or comparable, or it may even be faster than Speedrunner, which I think that might be the case. But it's pretty fast, nonetheless. And what you're going to do is you're going to lunge X off the ledge intentionally, so that when he's airborne, he has this speed. And then as soon as X clears the green ceiling here, you're going to hold jump and continue to hold right. And you'll actually stay in the air. Like, if you play this normally, the mech will get grounded on those blue floor, which will slow you down. But if you hold jump and let the thruster keep X to the ceiling, he shouldn't land on the ground. And then you're repressing Y to charge up another lunge punch for when he gets to this section right here. He's going to lunge off, so he'll continue to have lunge speed, and you're going to hold jump again. As you see, it carries him up. And then this mech will be here. And this is the mech that you use to get to the heart tank. Now, it's random what he'll do when you meet up with him. So the RNG changes a little bit, and so does your strat for getting the heart tank. It just depends on what this mech does. But in this case, when I jump out of the mech and I use the chain just to grab the wall and then hold charge, you see the mech is following me, so I instantly go back to the ladder, and then just before the mech hits me, I dismount the ladder and hold right there. So when he touches me, it cancels the knockback. So right here, the knockback was canceled, and I'm in invincibility frames. So I hurry up and jump out, and I actually climb the spike wall during my iframes. And just as they expire, I'm off the spikes, and I jump up and grab the heart tank. Now this is the fast mech damage boost. So you should have a chain stored. So once you come out of the heart tank and turn around, I'm going to release the chain on the ground and then do a dash jump as the chain extends. And that will grab this little ceiling partition like you saw earlier when we got to the arm capsule. And this will thrust X forward and keep him moving faster. This is the optimal what you want to do if you get the fast mech boost. And then you're going to use the chain again to kill this dude. You don't have time to get to Buster and kill that guy in time. And if you try to, you'll likely get hit by the tank and you lose frames anyway. Now, if he drops a weapon, you're going to collect it and it's unavoidable. So you just have to eat the frames for that if you get that RNG. And then, as you ride that lift, you're just going to charge up for another chain. So this is the fast mech boost again. Now that right armor, he can actually despawn, and we'll see an example of what happens when he despawns. But you want him to preferably chase you. Now this is the fast mech boost, but it's not the fastest. There's actually a faster one where he actually dashes up to the wall and then jumps once and you get hit. So technically there's 3 methods of getting this heart tank. But this is like the second best. But there's a faster one, and maybe I'll get it here in a second when I actually play through the section. So now we get no mech boost. So this is what happens if the mech despawns. So right here is where it changes. See, the mech is gone. So we have to use the charge chain to get up there, which is possible. So the mech despawned here. So I chain like normal and then hold charge, and I have to wait for the charge to reach full before I can use the chain. But then I just, at the very end of this platform, I'm going to release the chain, and then at the very end of the platform I'm going to dash jump. Now, once X lands on this platform, you've passed the continue point. So the continue point is this invisible line that extends from the edge of this ledge to the top of the ceiling here. So once you pass that, you've hit the continue point. So when you release the chain, if you release it low and you end up dying, you won't have to start from the very beginning of the stage again. But preferably you want the chain to grab the wall, and most of the time X will barely grab the top of the wall and just above the spikes, but you have to anticipate the grab and then do a quick wall jump before X slides on the spikes and dies. And then if you jump again, you notice I fired a chain, and that just pulls X closer to the heart. It's just a little frame saver, but over time they add up to a few seconds. And then since I don't have the charge chain now, I just have to dash off of this ledge, but I can cancel the Buster, charge up to a full charge shot or a green shot and a dash shot and take out that guy and keep moving. But either way, you want to end up on this platform and start charging for another charge chain. So here's the no mech boost. You see, he despawned because he stood there and tried to punch X while he was in invincibility. So he didn't move. So that's why he despawned. So that forces you to use the charge chain to grab the heart tank. There's also a task chain. If you release and jump at just the right timing, the chain extends even further up, and X doesn't even grab the front part of this. He actually instantly grabs the tank. But when you press jump in anticipation for the jump, you'll see that he'll grab, like, you'll see it when you get it. He'll just jump off the ground when you grab the tank. I don't have a video of that though, but it's pretty neat. So that was both of those RNG options. Now I'm gonna set up the next video, but I'm not gonna play it just yet. And I'm gonna try to do some gameplay myself here. So there's the corner chain. Now, if let's say you hit the corner here, and that happens, you just take the low road. So some people do take the low road regardless, but if you don't get that corner chain or you hit this ledge right here, just take the low road. And then, now see, I missed that one altogether, but just keep moving regardless. Now see, I pressed jump too early and didn't get under it, so now I have to take the ground way. But I lunge off and just jump. Now see, oh, okay, he barely came after me. So there's that. Now, if you're not comfortable doing either of those methods, there is one last backup strat you can do to get the heart. If you can't do the charge chain here or get the mech boost, there's one last resort. You can force this tank to shoot at X, but he has to be at the edge of this ledge here. And then get hit by that last projectile, or one of the last projectiles, as it fades out. It loses its hitbox right here. And then quickly turn around, dash jump off the wall while you're in iframes. And you're there. That's the slowest, but it's the last resort. So you should be charging up for chain for this. So I'm going to pause the game there and go back to my videos. So this is the ending of the stage. So I'm going to play this video a couple of times, and I'll talk about it as I go. So right here, there's another charge chain. As you see, it zipped over that big gap right there. And you're also you're running into that bird on purpose to get invincibility frames, or you just die. And then right there at the very end of that spike bed, I release the chain, and then I dash jump. Now, if you dash jump a little too late or too high, you can actually hit this bird and fall to your doom, potentially, which is bad. So you want to cut off your jump here a little early. You don't want to do it necessarily exactly full height. I don't know if you saw it, but full height actually brings X up here, and the bird's going to come down right there, and you're going to get hit. Or the chain will zip you into that bird, which is bad. So you cut off the jump a little early so you don't get hit. Now right here, this disc boy has some RNG. He could just stand there, which means you can just, after this bird flies away, you actually have room to dash jump out and then come up here. But if the disc boy here decides to throw the disc, you have to wait anyway. Like here. And then come out and shoot with a chain, and then start a charge. And this is probably the hardest climb in the stage coming up. You want X to barely grab the bottom of this wall, and then using dash jumps at full height, he'll grab, there's a little ledge that sticks out right here, he'll grab that, and you want to get up on that little ledge, and then these two disc boys here will face you. And in this particular, in that example, they didn't do anything, but sometimes they'll both throw a disc at X, but if you move consistently and optimally, the disc shouldn't hit you, but they can mess you up a little bit. So you really have to get the timing of when to grab that ledge to start this climb. That's really the hard part, is the start, because all of this right here is very easy to execute. So we jump, we do a full height jump, and X will be high enough to grab the wall on the upper part. So do one jump, dash jump out to grab the side, and then we jump on it, and then we turn around, and similar to the wire sponge jump that we did to get to the sub tank, you want X to jump out far enough where he's within the 7 pixels of this little ledge, because this technically is a wall. And then right at the peak of his jump, you can do a dash jump, and then off the wall, and he'll auto turn like there, and he'll propel himself out, and you can actually grab the upper ledge here and then get on. Now, X doesn't have the air dash here, so this is the only time that you can actually press dash and jump in midair to do this auto turn. If he has the air dash boots, he'll air dash instead of auto turning. So later in the run, when we do the bubble crab, if you do stack third, you're gonna have to hold dash and then press jump to get this dash jump off the wall like this. So not right now, it's not a big deal, but when you get the air dash later, when you do a similar jump with the dash jump off the wall kind of thing, it's important to have dash already held. But for right here, you can press dash and jump at the same time and it won't hurt anything. So once we get to the top here, you want to release the chain basically between the 2 blue sections of the map here, and dash forward, and then right as the chain extends out, you want X to jump, and the chain will grab the wall and propel him here. Now this disc boy can also either just stand still or he'll throw the disc. If he throws the disc, you'll run into it as you try to climb. But right here he just stood still, and the chain will take him out in one shot. So after you kill him with the chain, you're going to charge up again. Now you want to dash jump off of the middle step, because when you get full height, you'll end up a little higher when you do this release chain here. And X will grab the far wall, and he'll get pulled over. So if you were on the bottom step and you tried to dash jump, you're actually lower. So when you do the charge chain from a lower vertical position, he would only grab this block, which is still okay because he can still dash jump up here and come out, but it's easier if he just made it all the way across, and it's a little faster because chain will zip him across the entire way instead of part way. So all these little technical things with this chain matters to an extent, but if you're just learning, it won't be a big deal. But once you get to high level, chain placement is everything. So I'm coming back here. So a lot of these chains are one. You just press chain once and then you hold charge, and then we come back outside again. So two quick dash jumps there. So that quick jump there, another jump here, and then 2 more jumps will get you over that hurdle. And then you go to Buster for the outside part here. You just keep moving, and then right here, right there, a lot of different runners do this section differently. Some just don't shoot and they just try to move through and try to avoid all the enemies. I will actually clear the way. I'll wait and do a couple of dash shots after jumping over this tank. Now this bird's coming after me, but you're going to see here, if I do these 2 shots and then a green shot, I kill that guy, and I hold my dash so that it carries me down this hill, and the bird just flies over. So if you keep moving and you don't stop for anything, and you time your shots correctly, it should be easy to get every time. You can also use chain if you want out that tank, but you still have to contend with the RNG for drops if that happens. So as I fall, now it's also important when I jump here, I'm jumping off almost the very edge of that slope. and I hold my height of my jump, and I keep holding right, and as I free fall, that sets me up to barely be near the entrance of this last area before we get to the door. And there I try a corner chain just to see if I can get a few more frames. Now, the setup here in this video here is for the easy Gator fight with the charge chain. There's two setups for the Gator fight, and depending on your skill level, that will dictate which setup you want to do. But for me, I just hold charge, and I've already reached the pink charge before the door, which you want to have a pink charge for the easier Gator fight. And I just take the intentional damage boost on purpose, because you pretty much have to, unless you want to get crazy with these corner chains, which I'll show in a minute. So setting up for the Gator fight, just have a pink charge ready to go when you touch the second door. So let's see what video I have next. Do I have a one cycle fight coming up? Yes I do. So I'm going to talk about this Gator fight first, and then we'll talk about the advanced triple chain strat. This is the part of the game that a lot of people struggle with. It's how to one cycle Gator, or scoring the quick kill, as most people might call it. It's all about rhythm, and it's all about paying attention to Gator. You don't look at any of the meters. Don't look at anything else. Just watch Gator. So when the battle begins, you're not going to hold charge anymore. You're going to let off the Y button, and then on the first frame, that charge chain is going to come out. Now, if you stand still and try to let the charge chain extend, it won't hit Gator in time before he sinks into the water. So you have to dash as soon as you get control. Now, you can't buffer a dash during a pause. And that's another thing I'll talk about, input buffering, when we get to the chain, the triple chain strat and those advanced setups. But as soon as the battle begins, hold forward, and then on the very first frame that you can, as soon as you hear the music, hit dash. You'll dash forward and close the distance to reach Gator, and that first charged chain will hit him for 5 damage. And as soon as the chain hits him, you want to turn around to cancel the chain sprite, because when that chain is out, it actually lags the game a little bit. So right there, I turned around to cancel the chain and then turn right back around. And you walk forward to set up the next hit for Gator. You don't dash. So for right here, I just want to walk up to Gator, and a good visual cue for the first hit is just after passing the middle waterfall in the background. So after Gator takes that hit, you see his head is not back here. Now, as he comes out of his stun, watch his body. He kind of leans forward a little bit, and there's like 3 frames of animation to where he leans back forward after getting stunned. As soon as you see him stop moving forward, that is the timing to shoot the next chain. Now, to shoot this next chain to hit him within the 5 frame window that you have before he goes under, you want to be as close as you can get to Gator, but don't be like so far into him that you touch him by accident. The hitbox for this chain is actually quite wide, so you don't have to be like super in his face, but you need to relatively be close. And right here, this is deceptive. Like, that looks like, oh, you're going to get hit because his sprite is on top of yours. Well, no, that's not necessarily the case. Gator has a very deceptive hitbox, and it looks very, very weird. So his hitbox is actually like right in here. It's pretty crazy. It is hard to explain. But it's all about positioning and just rhythm and timing. And you pay attention to Gator the entire time that you do this. You don't look at anything else or you will miss it. And perhaps I should slow this playback down. I'm going to see if I can slow this down to maybe half speed. I think I can. Yeah, I'm going to slow this down to half speed here. And I'm going to turn the volume up on this video. So here comes the meter fill. So right when the music plays, and you have to develop a good sense of timing to get this down for the dash, because you can't press dash during the pause and buffer a dash. You can't do that in this game. So if you try to do it, you're just going to walk. So you have to press dash after that pause is over when the music begins. So right there, the chain is getting released, and I press dash at the start of the music. And I turn around to cancel the chain. So right there, there's 3 frames of animation that Gator does when he leans forward. After the third one, he's not going to stop he's not going to move anymore. So that's when I press the shot again. So there's 3 frames there. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Some people try to watch his eyes, but the problem is that this water is going to start doing waves, and then that blocks your vision. So you have to watch the body. You can't watch anything else. And then once you knock him back towards the wall, you can stand between this waterfall and this line, and you'll be fine to finish out the fight. So let me back this up a little bit. Boom. And there's 5 frames. Now, sometimes he'll get knocked back, but then there's other times that he will just stay still. If he doesn't get knocked back, don't panic. Just stay in the proper position relative to his head, and you should still be able to score the hits. Now, if you see the water splash when you hit him, that means you hit him on the very last frame possible. So you have to speed up your timing just by a few frames. So his invincibility frames is 60 frames. So you have to space your shots between 61 and 65 frames. So if you come into this stage with a lot of weapon energy for practice and you fail it, just let him kill you and you can just reattempt it for the sake of practicing. So I'm getting ready to load the advanced strats to get in here. So that's how the one cycle should go. It's all about rhythm. Oh, and it's still on slow speed. Well, that's actually good because now this is the cooler strat to set up for Gator and to get by that cannon driver. And I'll bring up a visual aid in just a moment for that. But as you see, you have to use you have to get spaced out to the side and then fire the chains at a specific time to propel X over the enemy and get behind him to get into the door. Now, there's also a third chain, and you'll see it here pretty soon, but you can actually get a third chain to pull X right into the door. But regardless, you need to hold charge for this advanced strat, because you're going to have to use the buffer strat for Gator in this situation. Let me see if I can speed this back up a little bit. How far do I want to take this? Yeah, 70% sounds good. So, for this situation, X doesn't have his pink charge right now, but he is charging up for the pink charge. Now, what the buffer point after the boss's meter does the game is loading the boss music in, but also it actually checks to see if you're holding any inputs at that particular moment. Because in the previous fight, I wasn't holding Y, so when the battle started, the chain was released automatically on the first frame. For this example, if you come in with a yellow charge, what you're going to do when the meter fills, you're going to press Y. So you're letting off Y during this little scene. But as soon as the meter fills and the music stops, you press Y. The game at this point recognizes, oh, you pressed Y, so I need to fire a chain. But what also this does, this keeps your charge alive. It actually does a link. It links your charge prep from before the door to now when you get into the fight, you're still holding charge, even though you're firing a chain. So you're tricking the game mechanics into thinking, oh, I'm going to fire a chain, but I'm also holding charge. But the same thing happens. Now, I turned around just on instinct because I'm used to doing the easier Gator fight. Now, this is the hard part for this buffer strat. You have to release the chain here a little earlier than you might think. Because the charged chain claw actually takes about a frame or two before it comes out. So if you are used to doing the easier fight and you're trying to learn advanced Gator fight, you could release the chain late and it goes right over them, and then you're screwed. So you want to learn to release the chain frames earlier to ensure that you catch him. And when you catch him, just like before, you want to turn around to cancel the chain so that it doesn't lag the game, because the chain causes a lot of lag in this fight. And then, just like before, you're going to finish him off with normal chains. And it's all about rhythm. So, to review. So, right here at the pause, you press Y, and then you get ready to start dashing when the music begins. So, the combination of the dash going forward and the chain extending will still catch Gator before he gets under the surface. And you still have 5 frames. Okay, right there. That's a perfect pause. His iframes just expired right there. So you're going to hit him right there and release the chain. That's a perfect pause. So right there. When he leans forward, when he stops leaning forward, hit him. So I'm going to try to speed this back up to full speed here. Okay. Normal speed. So now I'm going to play this at normal speed now. So there's the 2 quick chains. Tap, tap. If you don't get the third one, don't worry about it. Most people, they just do 2 anyway and just dash jump into the door. Boom. Now you're on yellow. So the 60 frames of invincibility from that first buffer chain will get you to the pink charge. Boom. 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 All about rhythm. So after this playthrough, I'm going to show the visual aid for the triple chain. Alright. Now for the triple chain. Okay, so as you approach this cannon driver, blocking the door, you want to set X up basically along this vertical where the blue dots in the background are lined up. That's usually a good visual point to set X up. So you want to have your chain ready. And basically it's X's feet kind of touch the blue part, this third one from the bottom, there's 6 of these here. I don't count this one. I just count 1, 2, 3 when I get to this, the middle one. Then I turn around and fire the chain. Just tap the fire button because the chain doesn't have to go out that far to grab this wall. And what will happen, using the momentum from holding right and the chain, will thrust him not diagonal, but more shallower than diagonal. And it will thrust him over the cannon driver, and then the second chain will get him over it so that he doesn't hit him. And then there's a third chain where you have to stop holding forward just for a few frames and then continue and then repress forward and chain, and you can actually grab the door. But at that point, regardless, you want to hold your charge for the buffered Gator fight. And this takes practice. You're not going to be able to like just watch see the visual cue I'm trying to point out here and say, "Oh, this is easy." No, it's not. It takes some practice to get your muscle memory down for. So the timing is like tap tap and then tap. So it's like tap 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 to get into the door. Now I'm going to show the video for that triple chain once I get it loaded, and then I need to take this out for a minute. So here's the triple chain at normal speed. So it's chain, 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 chain. Now as you see, it doesn't even look like X has even started his charge yet, but I really am holding Y at this point. And he's going to touch the door still on like his green shot level charge, like his tiny aura charge. That is there's still enough time to get the pink charge off. So this is like the hardest form of the Gator strat. Because now, okay, I'm still buffering the chain like I did the previous fight. But you see, he will turn pink just before the time comes to release the charged chain. Like, this squeezes, like, this literally stretches the timing out as far as you can stretch it and not mess up. Like, boom, like, as Gator was leaning forward, X's charge got to pink just in time. So like that's how tight the timing is to get all these charges in just in time to do what you want to do with them. I mean, it's sick. That's what makes this stage so technical. There's so much to learn, especially when it comes to knowing how long it takes to reach a full charge. And that's really the aspect. That's really the thing about this stage. Once you get the arm upgrade, everything changes. I mean, you're just not shooting normal chains anymore. Now you're using charge weapons, so you have to build the charge in time to reach certain places. But just like before, it's all about rhythm. Once you get him into the corner, just wait for him to stop moving forward. Just don't be early. Don't get anxious and try to press the shot early or you'll miss it completely and he'll sink. So now I'm going to slow this video down a little bit. I think that's half speed. It might be slower. I'm going to speed that up a little bit. Okay, that's normal speed. Let me slow this down a little bit. Okay, there's 90%. But I guess it's good that I should slow this down a little bit. Okay, 80% sounds like a good speed here. Maybe you can see the timing to shoot the chain a little better. Okay, so right there, X's bottom foot is covering the blue, and I haven't turned over yet. So right there, I'm turning around. I shoot the chain, and I'm trying to pause exactly where okay, I chain the very bottom of that wall. And then the second chain will be just above bottom, probably a third of the way up on this wall. And then I barely stop holding forward just to let X drop down below the ceiling. And then the chain, then I chain the door, and he gets pulled right onto the ledge and doesn't even touch the floor. So it looks like he's gliding into the door, which is sick. Like, you can't glide in this game, or you're not supposed to, but the chain makes him look like he's gliding. When I got a triple chain once, I actually shot the chain into the wall, like right in here, no joke. And I still got the triple chain, and he got thrusted into the door. I think he was still airborne. He didn't even touch this floor, but I can't remember. But I do know for a fact that the chain was in the wall. So you're holding charge because you have to build this charge up. So yeah, if you use these chain strats coming into this boss door, you're forced to use the buffer chain strat for Gator. You can't do the easy fight like I showed at the very start. So before you even reach this section, you have to decide what strat you want to go with for Gator. You can't change your mind in mid strat. So there's the bane that right here. So press Y, then dash. Turn around to cancel the... Well, that was natural. I do that all the time. But right there, on this frame here, he's got the pink charge, and he's not in iframes anymore. So that's within the 5-frame window. And then as soon as I hit him, I turn around to cancel the chain. And then I'm standing relatively safe. And then as Gator leans forward, as he stops, right there, I pelt him again. Then I pelt him again. Boom. It's hard to stop this video within the 5-frame window. But I'm doing it pretty well, so I've got the consistency down to stop the video, I know when his leaning forward stops. Boom. Now as you see, it looks like the chain's coming out from behind him. His hitbox is very deceptive. His sprite shows him over X, but his hitbox is literally right here. It's important that I should point that out. It's very deceptive, and it's really weird. Also, when you shoot the chain, you don't want to be back here, because then the chain actually has to extend to hit Gator, which means you have to shoot the chain earlier, and that's hard to do. So you want to be right up on him. And especially when you get him in the corner between this waterfall and this line is where you want to be. For X's head. That's a good visual right there. So after this, the tutorial is basically done, but I still think I can play through a live recording just to finish this out. So it's all about rhythm. Also, a good way to practice your one cycle, I take a stopwatch and start the timer, and then I hit the lap button on and try to guess 60 frames. So I'm watching the timer, and then I hit the lap button every 60 seconds, and then I do that for like 10 times. And then when I stop the timer and check my lap times, if they're if they're just about a second apart, then that helps you get good timing for this. So if you have a stopwatch at home, you can, when you're not playing the game, you can practice stopping the stopwatch every 60 to 65 frames. So let me play this back at normal speed. and I'll try to play this out. Also, if Gator sinks, you can charge up chain, so when he comes back up, you can deal a charge chain for more damage. If you miss any of the 1 cycles. So now I'm going to finish out the stage. And this tutorial is really long, but roughly so. I noticed that I'm already over an hour, so it's pretty crazy. Uh-oh, I'm not getting my jump inputs. I tried to do it the other way, just beat the guy and not get hit. So I'm coming down. Now see, if you throw the chain early there, your X is going to get stopped by the wall, and then you're just going to crash into him, and then you have to, and then you just have to do that. So this is going to be the buffer chain strat, it looks like. Yep. See, when I touch the door, he's still on yellow, so I have to buffer chain. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and that last chain I shot early. I got anxious. That's what happens when you get anxious. And he came back and he dove again. And if you get caught by him, wiggle out and just stay. Yeah, just stay right there, because he'll never jump in the same place twice. So, but that's how Gator. That's Gator for you.